All right, so let's copy this video URL. Okay. We're gonna do all right. We should be live. I am going to be monitoring comments. Let's get this to work here. All right, we're gonna do okay, so we're a little early. We're 10 minutes early, so I'm gonna take some time setting up some things to make all this run super smoothly. So if you're here, if you're in the chat, if you're hanging out, you know, type a message. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're here. All right, so let's do this. What's up, Jonathan? Okay, I'm basically trying to, so I don't have to keep turning my neck. I could actually probably do this. Let's see, if I hide chat, if I pop out chat, can I just do this? Now I can see it and you can see it. Let's do that instead of trying to fiddle with the iPad. Let's do, okay, so we've got the screen there, and then I should be able to go to, what else do I need to do? So I need to open up what everybody, here we go. Let's bring up a text. Remind me later. Let's do colon live. All right. All right, if you're just joining in, I'm just trying to get everything set up, get emails sent out. Let's do a new. Hold on. Copy. New. Just emailing everyone right now to let them know to join. If you're just popping in, I'll be with you in just a moment. Say something if you're here. We are gonna wait until everybody shows up. Copy this, new email. Here we go. We are looking good. 2 more to go. 2 more emails to send. Copy. New email. All right, say something. What's up? Hey, Mark, how's it going? There in Phoenix, how's it going? We got some people rolling in. Super excited about that. I'm just sending out the last couple of emails to make sure everybody's able to kind of pop in and watch, see what's happening. We got our ultra low latency, so it should be about 6 seconds. I did the math on it. I tested it out yesterday. 6 seconds between when you guys type something, when I say something, so there'll be a little bit of a delay. But Mark, I hope you're doing really good. Why don't you go ahead and type in there about what you're excited to talk about or ask about today. I've got a few ideas on what I want to cover, but this is really kind of a more personal chance for me to answer like very specific questions. I can bring up you guys' websites. We can do all kinds of really, really cool things. So I'm amped to be able to be doing it in this format. So let's go ahead and do that while we wait for a couple more minutes. Looks like we're a little bit early. So you can let me know if the audio, how the audio sounds, if it's loud enough. I'm excited. This is going to be great. So let me make sure. We're just going to go here. Save that. We'll get out of here. We'll bring up. Yeah, let's do this. Market orders. Make sure there's nobody here that we missed. So Mark, so you were the last one. You're in, Brooke. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let me refresh. I'm working through your accelerator video number 1, question 1. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, got some people just signing in now. Let's do. Let me refresh this here. Just make sure this guy. I mean, everybody should have it. Victor, Michael, the link didn't work, so I copied and put it into the web. Great. So I'm glad that that's working when you copied into the web. I wonder if I have to. Let's go to this. We'll just try this live webinar. So this is the access link. So we'll say this is actually a link. Whoops, not that. Insert. Beautiful. Save. There we go. Should be working now for anybody. So let's see how many viewers we've got in here now, because I can check that. All right, we got about 5 viewers, 6 viewers. So that means 4 of you are in here. Orlando, My God, Southern Florida. Amazing. Okay, Mark, let's see if we can answer your question a little bit. Um, you don't have the ambient light. Let's see. I don't have the ambient light you do in your studio. Can you talk about the lighting you would recommend? So, can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Are you in a place that doesn't get any ambient light? Are you in like a room with no windows? Are you in a room with like one very, very small window? Or are you in a place that just doesn't have windows on three sides? Because honestly, I follow a lot of different people, and actually one of the things that I'm looking to do is get some blackout shades so I can have less light coming in, because that will allow me to direct the light a little bit better. Yesterday I had a client shoot, and it was really cloudy in LA, which is really rare. And so what I ended up doing was, in each little space that I wanted to shoot in the studio, I closed all of the windows other than that one window. And what that does is it allows your light to be a little bit more direct. It allows your subject to shine through a little bit more. I can't show you her pictures, but I can show you, let's see, these are the use anything pictures. Tammy. Let's do, trying to see if there's one on kind of a more cloudy day. This was a shoot. So here's something else that I'm really excited to be able to do with you guys is I can do actually, let's see, in my home I have window lighting, but in my home studio only one window on the north wall. So okay, so first of all, north walls don't get any direct sunlight. And so that's what I worked with yesterday, no direct sunlight, which can be good. The company that I would check out, if you guys want to check them out, I'll bring them up here. Let's do a new window. And then what we're going to do is, all right, we're going to do this other, which I think is going to work. All right, so that should have switched to this background. You can see the background now, so just confirm for me that you can see what you guys are typing, and we're looking good. So here's what I would do is Sheer Photography is Brian and Jen's company, and they shoot with only this north window. This is pretty much it. They've got some other spaces, but in this studio they've got one window and it's north facing, and so they don't get any direct sunlight. You can see that there's no direct sun. There's a little bit of direct sun hitting here. This is no direct sun. Oh my God, these pictures are so old. Let's go to their Instagram. If we can go to contact, get in touch. I think it's just Sheer Photography. If we do this, Sheer Photography. All right, so all of this is just north-facing window. So here's, a little bit of direct light, a little bit of sun hitting here, but it's pretty much all soft light. It's just one big window, and it's the shears. So go out, buy some shears, and then shoot into the light. Here's another great example. Just one window with shears, and then shooting into it with the dark on the bottom level. Let me see if I can see another example. Pretty much all the same here. Here's another example. No direct light coming in through the windows. They're just shears. And then, if you stand up, shooting down onto it, that's what you can see. Let me know if you guys can see my computer screen and if that's working, because I want to make sure that you're getting the info. So you really don't like strobe softboxes. I really don't, and here are the reasons why I don't. You can use them. I have used them for boudoir. I know people who do use them for boudoir. They will give you more control. Softboxes will give you more control. They will allow you to create the same light any day, no matter if it's raining or sunny or you've got lots of windows or not lots of windows. But the negative is that they distract the client. They distract you. There's more prep. There's more changing your settings. There's more you focusing on the equipment and gear. There's more intimidation from the you got more intimidation from the client because now they've got this big softbox in the way, and there's a light that keeps popping every time they take a picture. And so for all those reasons, I really don't like to use them for boudoir specifically. I think, I mean, now not every, my photo shoot yesterday looked different than my normal work because it was cloudy. Now, if I was shooting strobes, I would have the ability to have the same thing every single time. But, I mean, that's essentially, the biggest difference. So if you do want to use strobes, if your studio is just not conducive to using natural light, I would recommend, for the least expensive, to get a shoot-through umbrella. A shoot-through umbrella and like a Yonggu strobe from like, let's bring up you know what I mean to spell. Here we go. Yongnuo. Yes. Okay, so these are cheap, you guys. These are so cheap. Under $200 for a full. Oh, that's newer. Nice. Let's type in how it's actually spelled. All right. So this is a newer system. Newer. What's going on here? I wonder if they don't sell them on Amazon. They have to sell them on Amazon. So this here is $50. $50. That with an umbrella and an umbrella stand, something like this, is so cheap, amazing, and you'll be able to start shooting strobes. That's what I started to shoot with, and I have them. I have old Nikon and old Canon strobes, but they haven't come out of the box in about 4 years, just because I just don't use them anymore. So that's the softbox question. I'm gonna be kind of talking about some different things, but I would love just to hear where you guys are at, what questions you have, so that I can answer them. Again, I really wanted to put this together so that we could have a little bit more personal discussion about you guys specifically. If you want to send me your websites, we can do a little critique on websites or images. We can do, we can go through my website, what works there. We can go through some of my images. We can talk about editing. It's really up to you guys what you want to get your time out of today. Patrick says, I've had the same question for a long time. Not great lighting, but in low light, I have super ISO, way higher than what you recommend in your video on the topic. So I'll shoot at 6400 ISO. It doesn't really matter to me. If the picture's in focus, it'll be fine. So I would choose that as long as the light is directional, as long as the light is of quality, which means it's not like bouncing off a bunch of greenery in the trees and then you get like messed up skin tones. As long as you don't have anything where it's not bouncing off like a red building, so it's coming in and it just looks terrible. I always recommend, for me, if you've learned how to shoot it, the natural lighting. I just think it looks good. I think it disarms your client, all that kind of stuff. Let's see. You mentioned in your video about using plants. Could you talk more about props that you like to use? Yeah, so plants are great. I use like a artificial palm tree. So funny. I really do buy just like so much of this stuff on Amazon. I'm pretty sure this is the one that I have. This looks amazing in the background of pictures. It looks really, really good. Having little things. I also have a bamboo. Let's see. We'll do artificial bamboo. I'll do it in a new Amazon. It is... Well, let me show you here. So let me do... Yeah, I can show you here. So this is from, I think, 2018. Use anything. Here we go, Annabelle. All right, so with Annabelle... So this was a client shoot about a year ago. here is my bamboo in the background. So little things like this, I think this was like $150 or $180, but I never have to water it. It always looks good. It always looks new. It's interesting in the background, and not only that, but it's something that you can shoot through. So this is kind of a cool, crazy, like voyeuristic kind of look. You know, just something to put in front of your lens can really add some interest to your photos. It's not like the only way to do it, but I found that it looks really good. Here's another example of just kind of adding a little interest. Here's that palm tree in the background. Something real subtle can go a long way. Little artwork. You know, you can get artwork really cheap online. I mean, there's a million different places to get it. And for like really cheap, IKEA has some really, really inexpensive art. Here's you know, here's the palm tree. I've got a bar cart that's in the background here. Let me see if I've got pictures of my studio. If I do... I'm just looking for my studio. Here we go, 1334 studio. Studio makeover. Oh my goodness, let's do this. Only folders. Give me 1 second. This is gonna be really helpful, I think. All right, so this has been a transformation of my studio. So this is right when I first moved in. This was amazing because summertime the light comes in that side. I get no light through these windows in the wintertime. It's just basically it's north facing. This didn't have anything on. I just had this lamp couch. This rug looked so nice and new. That's hilarious. I didn't have anything over here. It was just kind of blank. And then I went through and I tried really hard to add things. So here's an example of it, just with a couple of shears, an air mattress, and some speakers. You're like really pretty, but already it looks way, way more full. So a little piece of artwork. Get some shears on your windows. That'll help out with the light. Whatever your air mattress, get a nice comforter, get something that fits. Now I've got something dark and textured, which I really like. If we keep coming down, so here's this table, but look at how blank and barren this looks without. Look at the difference of that. And where's the photo? And this is just like so bland. So that's another thing that you guys can add. And then, oh yeah, that was just what I had it. That's what the studio was for a long time. Here's I bought these flowers from Crate and Barrel. They were like $200 for this whole set, but I've had them for 3 years now and they still look exactly the same. This little thing, you can see my shades look really, really nice. Lastly, I want to show you just a little bit more of an update. Old studio. Let's see. All right, and then here's what it looks like with some more things. So I've got the better picture up here that takes up more space. I got this palm tree. Here's the better comforter with like a little throw rug or a throw blanket. You've got this is your bamboo trees here, and you guys, just like a couple of really subtle things. This tree, some stuff on the table, a better comforter blanket with some texture, a picture up on the wall, and it really did transform this whole space. It looks 1,000 times better now. Look at that. It really is a whole new space. Here's the bar cart, didn't change. I put like a little picture up here. I've since gotten a headboard, but those are some things. So those are some little things that you can do to add. I'm by no means an interior designer, but those are the things that I've done that have really, really worked for me. So let's go back here to chatting. Let's see. I have a Canon 200D. Oh, also, if you guys want to go to, I'll just throw this. Kit.com. So if you guys go to this link, it'll pop up with this is the photography kit, but if you just click on my name, and then you go to the studio, you'll see where I got my air mattress, and this is the rug that I did, and these are the shears that I did, and these are the spring rods that I used to hold up the blinds, and then this is the bed skirt that goes at the bottom of the air mattress. So this is the bed skirt that just goes under the air mattress, so it doesn't so much look like it's an air mattress. So that's what I would recommend. All right, Victor's got a question. Mark's got a question. So let's see. I have a Canon 200D2. My lens is a Yangyu. There's no way I'm pronouncing that right. 50 millimeter 1.8. Do you think it's a good lens? Do I need to go to the Canon 50? Yeah. Whatever your 50 is, I'm sure it's plenty good. I'm sure your clients can't tell. I may not even be able to tell side by side. But I would easily put money into your space or into the details or into sample albums or into marketing. I would put money into those way more than I would get just like a different 50 millimeter that does the same thing as yours currently does. That's what I would do without question. Let's see. It doesn't become repetitive for your clients to use the same set, same 25 poses. So you have to remember, every time a client comes in, it's their first experience. It's their first time getting their pictures done. If I were to do the same poses in the same space 4 times for the same person, yes, that would get repetitive, absolutely. But since it's that person's first one, every single person gets, let me go here, this first photo playing with the shirt, kind of just warming up. Here's another, just kind of playing with their shirt, warming up. Playing with their shirt, warming up. I kind of start the same way every single time. She's in a robe, but it's basically the same thing. We've got this one, you guys know, playing with her shirt. That was not a client shoot. She did a button up, but she's playing with her shirt, just kind of standing up there. Here's another one playing with her button up shirt. So everybody starts the same, and nobody says, wait, I know that, like, on a lot of your other clients, you also start this way. Pretty much what they want is for you to take the best pictures possible. So I feel like that's, it's not so much, I don't want you to feel like, let me go back here, bring this guy back over. I don't want you guys to feel like because you took that picture of a different client, that your current client isn't going to want that, because sometimes I'll get somebody that comes in and they'll see a photo and they'll say, oh my goodness, you know what picture I really want is this one where she's all stretched out and her arms are above her head. I thought that was super sexy and I want one just like that. Pretty much everybody finishes with something like this. And when they see that picture at the very end of the album, I say, do you want to do this, the grand finale? Pretty much everybody does it. And pretty much everybody says yes. Sometimes they'll do something like this that's a little bit less risque. But essentially, that's why people are hiring you, is because they want the photos that you take. And if for every single photo shoot you did something completely different, your clients wouldn't really know what to expect. So no, I don't think the clients get bored. They don't get tired. They chose you because they like what they saw, not because they want something different than that. So there is a balance between that and like trying something new. Let's go back to, oh yeah, let's do this. So there is a balance between doing that and doing, shooting the same thing over and over again for every single client and just having the people like interchange, like it doesn't matter who you're photographing. I don't think that's necessarily the perfect way to do it. I think if you can at least shoot, 50% of your photos on your bread and butter, the ones that you know are going to work, and then go to, from there, you can go to your pictures, your creative pictures. Let's try something new. I don't know if this will work. Let's give it a shot. I think that can be really good. I think the client can feel like, cool, they're working with me. They're trying new things. I may get a picture that nobody else gets, which can be exciting. But it's definitely, don't feel like if you're shooting in the same space all the time, it's going to be too repetitive for your clients. I just want to make sure, I know some girls signed up for this, and I know we've got about 7 people in here checking it out. Are there any are there any girls in here that have any questions? Go ahead and post those. We got a variety. All right, let's get to the next. Also, let me know if I'm going too fast or if you need me to repeat anything, and we'll keep going from there. Let's see. It was really great the way you presented the 25 poses. That's great, Mark. I'm glad that was really helpful. Patrick, could you talk a little bit more about video, picture profile, color correction, and grading for the boudoir videos that you do? So I use on Sony. You can pretty much use standard. I use the Sony picture profile called Deep. I think it just is best on the skin tones. I like the way that it looks, and then I do a slight color grade on it. Very, very subtle. Yeah, so I don't do too much. If you watch a YouTube video, they'll be able to explain better than I do. But basically, I just bought the LUT pack, the M31 Osiris M31 LUT, and I use that at about 30%. It just puts a little bit of cinematic color in there, but nothing too crazy. And that's what I'll do for my like sexy boudoir videos. For my own personal videos, I do one that I created when I was making my presets, but it just kind of brightens up the yellows a little bit in the face, smooths that out a little bit, and that's what I do. So let's see. I have not been paid yet for boudoir, but I've done a number of shoots. I'd love a mini critique. Yeah, go ahead and probably the easiest way to do that is if they're on your website or if they're on your Instagram. Just post the link here in the chat, and I'll go ahead and click on it. We can go through all of that together. If you guys want me to critique some of your photos, post a link to them or send me an email with them or something like that, and I will go through that with you guys. Let's see. I struggle to shoot in low light, but I love using natural light. I have big windows in my studio that are great, but do you have any tips for shooting in low light? So, good question, Brooke. When the light gets lower, you have to increase your ISO. That's the first thing. You typically have to shoot at a wider aperture, so something like 1.4, 1.8. And then sometimes it can be better to put your back towards wherever the light is. So put your back towards the window, and then you'll get the most light on your person, versus if you're shooting into your client, into the window. So let me give you an example of that. So let's go here. All right. So you see these big catch lights in her eyes? This is me. These are these 3 windows. Let's go 2-1. All right, so you can see here the windows here, and you can see me as like a little photographer in here, this little black dot. That is because I'm standing right where those 3 windows are. In this case, I'm shooting into, there's windows here and there's windows here. There's not a whole lot of light on her. Here we're shooting with all this light coming back, so you see these little highlights, which look really nice. But again, her face is just, her body's just kind of darker. Now, I'm okay with that, but if you were to shoot, here's all the light coming from this way. We got a little high. Man, these are old pictures. Let me go to some newer pictures. Use anything. Laura was a good one. Okay, let's do this. So towards the end of the shoot, here is an example. I'm shooting from me to her to the window. So this is allowing for her whole body to be dark, and then these little bitty highlights that follow her skin, which are really, really gorgeous and really, really beautiful. But if the light is really dark like that, if the sun is really dark and you're not getting a whole lot of light in your studio, you don't want a really dark picture. Watch what happens when I walk onto the other side and I photograph from here looking back at her. Wow, look at how much brighter she is, and her whole body is like lit up. So in this case, what we're doing is actually we're shooting with our backs to the windows like we were on that very first picture. And that's going to allow her to be completely lit up. And then there's no other light hitting the studio, so that's why the rest of the studio is really dark. And then if we go back to this one, so I was standing here for that other picture, so you can see all the light hitting her face. So this is just going to light her up beautifully, and then all this that's dark is going to stay dark in the background. So you can shoot from either side. This is again with the window over here and coming back this way and hitting her skin, which looks really, really beautiful. But again, if you don't want that to be, if you want to come around on this side, now she's completely lit up. I'm again with my back to the window. and shooting into her this way. So that's my suggestions on shooting low light. So the first thing is do a wider aperture, whatever it is, 1.4, 1.8. Bump your ISO to 800 or 1000 or whatever you need to do it, and then put your back where the window is and then shoot back towards your client that way to get this beautiful big even light. Or if you want to shoot it really, really dark, you can do it like that. You just have to shoot exposing for these highlights so that this is all completely dark. I hope that makes sense. So let's do this. We're going to minimize this guy here. Okay. You can't send web links here. I'll email it to you. That sounds good, Patrick. Let's see. So that's your low light question. Let's see. I'm having a hard time with the color different when the color is different in different lighting conditions. Shooting into the light, with a light, or in the triangle to create shadows. Can you explain what you mean by you're having a hard time with color? You mean you don't like the color of your images? Answer that one for me, Patrick. Let's see. I'm sure you go through this in your class, but I haven't had a chance to dive in. The new boudoir photography in general. How do you find locations to shoot if you don't have a studio? So yes, I definitely talk about that. Here are my recommendations. I'll just type them out here. So one is Peerspace. This is a website that a few, depending on your location, some places have a lot of places to go. Some people don't. Another one is, Airbnb. Whenever I travel, I book with Airbnb and then I shoot in that space. If you're just doing it for the day, so Peerspace does it for the hour, Airbnb does it, for the day. You can rent it out for a few days and set up a couple of shoots in there. The problem with Airbnb is that you typically check in at around 3, checkouts at 11, so it's not perfect. The best time to shoot is usually right in the middle there. Sometimes you have to book for 2 nights. But sometimes 2 nights at $90 a night is cheaper than renting a space per hour that do, $125 for an hour. Or you want 3 hours at $100 an hour, that's $300 instead of renting a place 2 nights for $100, or $150. So those are some different options. Airbnb, obviously vrbo.com, you can do that. But also I would just check out, sometimes some friends have some really amazing apartments. Sometimes your client has a really beautiful place. Marco Ibanez, if you guys don't know who that is, this is so great. I gotta tell you, I can communicate with you guys so much better than I can on Instagram. I can show you my screen. We can show you links. I'm gonna send you Marco's website. Marco Ibanez Boudoir. All right, so this is Marco's website, and his work is really amazing. So silly amazing. Now here, what Marco does is he's got let's see. I want to see if this is what is for photographers. Oh, I see. That's right. I know what he's saying. About Marco, such a nice guy too. I don't see it here, but I remember reading he must have cleaned up his website or changed some things. But this is Paula. She's she lives in the UK. We did a workshop with her. Testimonials, video testimonials. Okay, so this is Marco, and let's actually go to the gallery because this will be good. So Marco shoots in different places all of the time, so he doesn't shoot in the same place twice almost. He photographs in his clients' homes, and the way he gets away with that is he tells them, he says, hey guys, where should we shoot? Well, we can shoot at, we can rent a studio, which we could do, or women, this is about you, and this is about intimacy, and this is about your life and your story, and for that reason, I think it would be better if we photographed in your space. You'll be more comfortable, it'll be more personal, and I can pretty much shoot in whatever scenario, in whatever condition. So that's kind of what he tells them, and when he tells them that, a lot of women say, oh, that makes all kinds of sense. I'm absolutely going to do that. So that's a way that you can shoot in your clients' homes. I don't really do that because I like my studio and the light's really good and it's controlled and I know what to expect and all of those things. So, pick and choose your battles, what you think would work best for you. Let's see. I live in Boston, if location matters at all. Nope. Kind of wherever you're at. Boston probably has a decent amount on Pure Space, so definitely check that out. Let's see. Something about your client signing a release. Can you elaborate on releases? So we're going to bring up 17 hats. So I just have to add that into the course. I'll do that. But basically, let's go to my projects. So here's, let me do somebody who gave me Gabriella. Perfect. So we're going to do the photo contract release. So this is what my release looks like. Yours can be variations of this. But this is how I do it. So first of all, if you don't know what 17 hats is, it's called a CRM, client something relationship management. And what this does is it allows you to connect with your client all in one place. So I send my initial contract through here that says, hey, I understand this is a boudoir shoot. These are the dates. This is what I'm signing up for. I can't sue Michael because, if he asked me to do something, get in a compromising position because I understand that I'm signing up for a boudoir shoot. It says cancellation policies. You owe this amount if it's late. This is when to expect to get your pictures back. So those are the contract things that all goes out through here. Then I send them the invoice through here. If I don't take it over the phone, I email them the invoice. Then once they book, I start to send them automated emails leading up to their session with the outfit guide and to recommend not to tan and prep for before they come in and they do their shoot. It sends them a sheet that says, hey, this is the address. This is parking information. Remember to bring these things. Remember not to do this. That happens. And then I send them this, which is like a little mini contract that lets them sign up whatever they feel comfortable with. So I basically have just 4 options, which is use whatever you like. Just make them tasteful. Now, I added this in about 6 months ago because my videos started to get a lot more traction and I wanted to let clients know what they were signing up for when they allowed me to use their pictures. So it says I'm followed by many photographers, share my pictures on Instagram and YouTube channel. Only check this if you're okay with many people seeing your images. But I also let them know your name is never used, you're never tagged, photos cannot be searched for by name. So this is telling them look, if somebody personally comes across these pictures, they'll recognize you. But other than that, in your job, if somebody types in your name, then you won't, nobody will be able to know who it was. They won't be able to see your pictures because they won't pop up when your name is typed in because there's no connections there. So, and then I've got don't show your face. So that's all the anonymous shots. That is something like this would count as an anonymous shot. Something like this would count as an anonymous shot. And then show nothing, please, which is totally fine because your clients are people and they've got, they've got their lives and they've got their privacy. And because they want to do a photo shoot doesn't mean they want the picture shared. In fact, a lot of times the whole point is to have these pictures done for only that one person's face. Only to be seen by them or only to be seen by their significant other. The last thing is you tell me what you're comfortable with. So sometimes people say, you can go ahead and use some pictures, just don't post any with nipples. Or they'll say, you know what, you can post anything with a t-shirt. I was comfortable in that, but don't post anything else of me in lingerie. So that gives them an opportunity to say something more broad. Sometimes they'll say, can I ask for specific pictures that you can share? And I say, no. If you feel like that, then I would just say don't share anything because, I just photograph so many people and to keep track of individual pictures makes it really hard for me. So that's totally fine. Just say you're not comfortable and that'll work out great. But for that reason, I've got all of these people. This is my use anything for this year. Okay. This is my use anything from last year. Look at this. So many more people gave me permission to share than this year. Crazy. But it's because I've been sharing more and it's because I've been putting more pictures out there. And I put that line there that said, hey, a lot of people are going to be seeing these pictures. So I hope that answers your question there. Okay. I found Lightroom Cloud to be immensely frustrating. It looks like you're using Lightroom Classic. Yeah, Lightroom Cloud is not a professional solution. It's designed to be set up like iPhoto for like travel photos and things like that. I use this. The folder system is really amazing. It works so well, and I could not recommend it enough. Lightroom Regular is absolutely the way to go, in my opinion. Let's see. Where do you order your wall art prints from? I know some places won't print nudity. So I found it's pretty rare, places that won't print nudity. Currently, I order through Laminart. Here we go. Laminart. I think it may just be laminart.com. Let's see. Laminart.com. So this is currently who I print through. Honestly, I'm going to stop using them next year because it's really expensive. It takes a long time to send, and it's very, they're very heavy, and their packaging is really intense. The image quality is beautiful. Looks amazing. But I don't know if it's truly worth it. So, I don't know if it's truly worth it, so I think I'm just going to switch to using either Miller's or Pro DPI to print. Those guys print nudity. It's not a big deal for them. Miller's, Pro DPI, WHCC, any of those places should be fine. I don't know, like Red Tree Albums doesn't print nudity. They're like a very Christian company, I think. I'm pretty sure that's who it is. You know, there's a few, but honestly, you know, for me, that's who I print, and I never get questions. I never get a problem. Miller's Albums prints nudity, so I know that they print, you know, nudity for their prints. So I would check out a few of those places. So yeah, so laminart.com for wall art. I'd say millers.com, prodpi.com, and whcc.com. Those are the three biggest print labs. Not the three biggest. There's Bay Photo. There's, you know, some other ones. But those are the ones that I would recommend. Absolutely. Okay. So you answered that. So let me check my email here and see if I got some Boudoir pics to review. Let's do this. All right. La Flame Rouge. The Red Flame Boudoir. All right. Do you trust these vendors not to pirate your pictures? Yes. Actually, ProDPI, I know the owners. They used to be in, or they still are in Denver. And, I mean, if it got out that a print company sent, you know, the nudity of the photos out, like, that would be detrimental to that brand, hugely detrimental to that brand. So I think that's, you know, unlikely that they'll risk it. I know the owners of ProDPI, Jeff, and I can't remember her name. But yeah, 5 years ago when I lived in Denver, I did some shoots with them. I know Jackie, who is the head of, you know, customer service there. So I know that there are good people working there. And I've talked to her about that as well. And they have like a pretty tight system. I think she even said that, you know, they're not really allowed to take prints out. They've got to sign, you know, whatever, when a print gets made, it like goes in the system, who made the print. I think they've got a pretty dialed in system. So let's go through some of these pictures. If anybody else wants to send some pictures for some critique, we can go over that. But I'll kind of walk through what I think about these pictures and what I recommend and some changes that I think could be made, things like that. So the first thing is this is a magical shot. I don't know how anybody's capable of something like this. That's pretty wicked. Women really like this shot. It's like cool and it shows her body, but I don't think this isn't very like boudoir to me. But I've had clients recommend this, ask for this in the past. Not recommend. what's the word I'm thinking of? I've had clients request this. In the past. This is good. Man, it's super small, but like this arm dropped. I would rather have her shoulders more straight. That's just kind of personal preference. If I were to be really picky, there's a TV in the background. I started, and the second was last month. So, the handstand was her idea. So totally. So that's a perfect example. Is that like girls really like to do that picture to show off what they can do and in their lingerie. I don't really show pictures like that because I don't really want to take pictures like that. But that's just something that you have to do. If I were to be really picky, the TV in the background is kind of like, I don't know. I try not to put TVs in the backgrounds of my pictures. Again, this is like really ultra picky. The last thing is it looks like you've got a little mixed light. So you see how this is kind of red here, but her skin tone is a little bit better. And then it's a little bit more red down here. So that's your mixed light. I would turn off all of the lights in the house. So you only have the clean light. Here's blue, and then here's kind of more orangey. So that's what I would do. And then that would remove some of that. Or maybe you shot this with a strobe, but your lights were on in the house. So that's something that I would definitely take a look at. So yeah, I mean, I would again turn off all of these lights here. I would lift this up so you get a little bit more light coming in, and then you'll have that. Where is sheer photography again? Let's do sheer. Oh yeah, we were doing their Instagram. Okay, so let's do, now obviously not to compare because that's not kind of the point of what we're trying to do, but just to show another example of how you could, I thought they had a wider shot with, let me just look for just a second. All right, so you can see how dark it is over here, but you can see the shape of her butt. You can see this line here. You can see the brightness of this, but then all this is pretty dark. If we look back at your image, here, you have the potential to have something like this, but because these lights are on, because you can see the couch is kind of yellow, because this is darkened and not as much light is coming in, you're not getting as much of that. You're starting to see a little bit of the light here, but this could be more extreme. Her body could be darker, and then you could have that. Also, I think this is some pretty unused space. This paper towel, the dog food, if you cropped it here, without that side of the room, I think that would definitely be better. Let's see. We're just going to check over here some of the comments real quick. Live in a pretty small town in Ohio. A lot of people here don't even know what boudoir is. I want to only shoot boudoir, but I feel like in an area, people won't invest a lot. So, yeah. So, I was in New York recently. I said I did boudoir pictures. People were like, what is that? In LA, I said I do boudoir pictures. People say, what is that? So it's definitely still something that not a ton of people know about. But if you can connect with the right people, Brooke, if you want to go to networking events or like my brother does one at 7 a.m. on Thursdays in Texas where people get up and they talk about what they do for 15 minutes. Or they each week they give a presentation about what they do and how they can help and questions that they can answer. And he's been able to network. He does financial investing, which is a little different than boudoir. But that's something that you can go check out to kind of get the name out there. Any women's only groups that are like Mommy and Me or anything like that, the more you share and talk about, the more people kind of start to understand. And the way to get people to invest more, some people just won't. Some people just don't value it. But if you can connect with the real reason deep down on why they would want to do it, like people will spend the money. So I read some About Me websites of some photographers that you really like, kind of get to the bottom of it. And it's not easy when you're in a super small town. If you're in a really small town in Idaho, I don't know what the next biggest town in Idaho is. What's the biggest city in Idaho? Boise. Idaho Falls, Twin Falls, some of these bigger cities. I don't know quite where you're at, but you're gonna have to also market to those bigger places, because where there's more people, there's just more people. If you want to be an actress, you kind of got to move to LA or New York or something like that. So you don't have to live in a big town to be successful in boudoir. I know, like, so here's Sheer Photography. They are in Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown, Ohio has, I think, like less than 200,000 people, but they're close to Akron. They're close to Akron. They're like 2 hours from Columbus. So that's kind of how they do it, is they market more to Akron, they market more to Columbus, and they get people to come out to see them. So those are some different options that you can do. Let's see. I sent you 2 images for the critique. The first one, okay, so I'll look at that in a sec. Let's get through 2 or 3 more of these. Yep, that's fine. That's fine. Let's see. This one's really good. I like this a lot. That one I like a lot. That one's fine. Yeah, so this is better. I would just get a little bit higher so that we can see a little bit more of the lines of her back right here. Also, this is kind of a strange thing to do it on. I would just move that and have her do it on the floor. Looks really good. Too much clarity boost. You can see all this in her skin, the sharpness in her skin. These lines have been accentuated by dragging the clarity slider. It adds sharpness, but it can really be damaging to skin. So I would do less on the clarity. Here is a little hard because her face is so dark in here. We don't really have her other arm to sort of like see what's going on. I would bring this elbow back so we could see a little bit more of her face. And then again, you got this blue light. You know, there's kind of more bluish light coming in here. I like the black and whites better. That's pretty cool. This is really good. Eyes closed on stuff like this, and mouth open. Eyes closed, mouth open. Eyes closed, mouth open. Over and over and over and over again. This is tough because what she's looking at, this is one of those things where I'm just kind of like, you know, I want them to be looking at something. I want them to be connected to something. We'll do 2 more. Yeah, again, you gotta turn down your clarity. This is it's just too much. This is okay, but we don't. So here is like her upper body looks like it's really short because you got her leaning back so much from this angle, and then her legs start. So we don't really get a sense of her shape here. Another thing you can do is if you move this arm, it looks like her chest here has got a good curve here, and then this looks like it would be another good curve. But because this arm is basically making this whole thing super straight. This, which could have like a really good curve coming in and then back out, feels like really straight because of her arm placement. So you can take this arm and bring it over here. You can take this arm and put it up in her hair. You can take this arm, elbow, and just separate it out, pulling off the shirt off her shoulder. Some different things like that. It's a good angle. That's good. It's just too yellow from the light. So I just switched this to black and white. So I hope that was helpful to kind of see some of those things. But honestly, pretty good start. I think you're in a good start. Let's see. 2 more images. How do you advertise for boudoir when you don't have a lot of women wanting their photos to share publicly? You ask for trade shoots. There's a couple of different ways to do it. So I try really hard to only share my actual clients, which are those. So a perfect example is like, this is an actual client. She paid me for her photos. She got digital pictures. This is an actual client, a woman who was like, you know, I want a boudoir shoot. Here's, for this reason, I'm turning 40. Things like that. And then I have people like Jordan, who I asked to come over to be in my iPhone video. Now, Jordan is amazing. She's such a sweetheart. She's comfortable in front of the camera, but she is not an actual real client. If we go to who else in here? I don't think I put anybody else who wasn't, of course, outside. Monica is awesome. You guys have probably seen her in some of the YouTube videos. This is when I was in Hawaii shooting. She's great, but she's like 23 years old, and she's not a model. She's really only done photo shoots with me, But with that said, I wouldn't put her in the category of like a client of mine. So for those reasons, I try not to share pictures that aren't my clients because I think that I shoot enough. But if you don't have that many pictures to share, I would reach out to people who want to do photo shoots for trade. I would reach out to people who look like your ideal client. If my ideal client is 35 years old and has really long hair and tattoos, then you better believe I'm going to go to a tattoo parlor and say, hey, this is what I do. I'm a photographer. I'm looking to build my portfolio. I want to do, a couple of shoots. Do you know anybody who you could recommend that you think would want some free photos in exchange for, letting me use those pictures on my website? If your ideal client is somebody who's 25 and getting married, you better believe I'm going to find somebody who is 25 years old, and I'm going to go out and buy a veil on Amazon for $10 and put her in some white lingerie and do a photo shoot and give them the photos for free. And then I will be able to use those for my portfolio. I'll post those to Instagram, things like that. So that's what I would really say as far as if you don't have people that are willing to share your pictures. That's what I did when I first started Boudoir. I set up a bunch of photo shoots, trade shoots, sent them all the pictures, used them for my website, and then I had a Boudoir website. 6 people is all you really need. Even 4 people is all you really need if you can get a decent amount of variety. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see. So that's what I would do. Ask your friends, ask friends of friends. I just put out the new course is the Finding Models course. It's all around just like setting up those trade shoots. Everything that I did in Bali, I shot so much in Bali, and I recorded a bunch of the conversations of the people that, I was able to shoot with out there. Okay, now let me go to my email. We've got this. Couple of different images here. So let's do, we will minimize this, and minimize this. All right, so we can get rid of our studio. All right, so here we've got the first image is when I started, and the second one was a month ago. So I really like this image. She's lit up really beautifully. You've got good contouring as far as like darkness on this side, darkness here. Whew. Highlights here. That looks really good. The cropping is a little weird that you've got so much space here and then her arm is here. I might back up a little bit or shoot it a little wider. Whoops. Something is wrong with the Q&A. Is there something that's not working? Something that got disconnected? Let me know in the comments. Something is going wrong with the Q&A. Can you guys still see me? Oh, I'm back. Okay. All right. So with this is, yeah. So I really like this first one. I think there's too much smoothing that's going on. I can tell that, I don't know if this is portraiture, but it looks like it's a little bit too much for what I would normally recommend. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then this is just like, this is a nice pose. I think it's a flattering pose on her, but the light isn't really that interesting to me. So you've got, it's kind of just like, kind of flat. And then the shirt is like ultra white. So I don't know if this was taken in a dark room or not next to a window, but that's what I would recommend. I would recommend that you spend a little bit more time looking at the light, putting them in the light, playing around with that, seeing what happens. But yeah, I mean, as far as your first couple of photo shoots, that's really good. All right, let's see what else we got. Mark says, I like to see a video with you coaching clients with gestures. For example, say close your eyes and open them slowly. Directions of the eyes looking at the camera. So that is more in my Finding Models course. Not to rep that, but basically what I did in that one is I didn't talk to the camera at all. So I just looked at the model And I told her exactly what I wanted to do over and over again. And there was no sort of like breaking to talk to the camera and say like, okay, guys, here's what I think. Here's the reason why I normally shoot this picture, and then turn back to the model and take the picture. I got some feedback of exactly like that. That was like, I want to hear what you tell them. I want to hear what this, how it normally goes, without breaking that sort of connection. But basically, let's see, for example, you say close your eyes and open them slowly. Yeah, so that's exactly what I say. I said close your eyes, open them real slowly. We did that yesterday a bunch because her eyes were just more open. She had a really hard time with the expressions. So direction of the eyes are always like peeking down and away. I say even though you can't see your lips, try and look at them, which allows them to look down without actually closing their eyes. That's another really good one. Looking at the camera away, peek up at the camera is a really good one while they're sort of peeking down. And then I'll just say, don't move anything, real relax, just slowly raise your eyes towards the camera. And that allows them to just give you a little bit of their attention, which works really well. Any other questions with that? Any other questions with those things? We're getting up to about an hour here. Getting up to about an hour for watching. Who's still here? Oh, yeah, 6 watching. Okay, some people must have dropped out real quick. Paul just signed up. I hope that he... I'm going to do this for about, I think, 20 more minutes. I love smiles. Smiling pictures. Yesterday's client, she said no to 2 smiling pictures, and I was like, are you sure? Because I feel like this really represents you. It's such a beautiful portrait of you, and you look happy, and this is like your significant other. When they see you and think about you, they probably love their smile, and so I know it can be kind of weird. Sometimes we don't like our big smiles, but I think it looks really good. And she left them both in there. So yeah, I'll try and say funny things. I'll try and make some jokes, and if they're smiling, I absolutely want to take those pictures. So I would absolutely recommend that. Let's see, when you do a phone consult and you cover your initial fee for the shoot, do you answer questions about package fees? Yes. So this is my exact phone script. So go ahead and listen to this. This is exactly what I say to somebody on the phone when they say, okay, so that I got all that information. Now how much is pricing? I say, so the photo shoot includes the $495. It's $495, and that's for the pictures and the hair and makeup. That's for the day and the hair and makeup. Anything you want to purchase, you'll purchase separately. So after the photo shoot, we'll take an hour break. You'll come back to the studio, and then we'll pick out your favorites, which ones you want to get. Now, most popular to get are the albums, and the albums come with 14 pictures. So I updated my pricing a little bit to have fewer pictures in them. So they come with 14 pictures, and that's an 8x8 album. It's really beautiful. If you want to check out what the albums look like, go on my website. On the very front page, you can see clients opening their albums, and that way you can see like the beautiful leathers and all of those things, the thick pages. It's really beautiful. And really, they're kind of going to see the album, but really what I want them to do is see the client's reactions when they see the pictures. Is what I want. Now, so after I say go check out the website. But like I said, most popular are the albums, and that starter album that comes with 14 pictures comes with the 14 digitals, which I think I'm going to change up next time. I say so you don't have to buy those twice, and that starts at $1,100. So I made it $100 cheaper, but it comes with 4 fewer images. So I did that so I could make my next collection up in the 20 image range at about $2,000. So I'm gonna be changing that up again next year, and then that pricing guide I'll be sharing. I wanted to try this one out this year and see how it worked, and there were some things that worked better and some things that didn't work as well. So I just wanted to test some things this year. So that's my phone script. So I say, we go through everything. Okay, what about pricing? The $495 includes hair and makeup and the photo shoot day. Anything you want to purchase, you'll purchase that separately. We'll go through and choose your favorites. The starter album starts at 14 images. It comes with the digitals. You can see an example of the albums on my website. So for those 14 images in the starter album that starts at $1,100. If you like more pictures, if you want a bigger album, those prices will change accordingly. But that's usually a pretty good idea of what to expect. And so that gets them thinking, okay, I'm going to come in. I know I'm going to spend at least $1,100 on top of the shoot fee. Then if they're like, okay, but what are the other options? I say, let me send you a pricing guide. I'll just email you a pricing guide. If they don't ask for that, I don't do it. And it sends out to them about a week before their photo shoot. It says, what are you going to print? And it says, do you know, how are you going to print your photos? And it says, here's a reminder of albums. Here's a reminder of wall art. Here's a reminder of different things. So that's kind of how I do it. And it's worked beautifully, worked wonders for me. Nobody comes in and says, wait, I thought it was going to be less, or wait, I didn't expect anything. And they don't book with me unless they know that because we have to talk over the phone and I have to tell them how much pricing is. So they acknowledge and they say yes. Sometimes they'll say, do you have anything cheaper? And I'm like, I do, 10 digitals for $1,000. But at that point, you're better off just getting the album because, the album comes with 14 digitals and the album. It's basically like you're getting the album for free. So, or you're getting 4 extra digitals for free. So that's kind of how I do it. Let's see. Reply. Let's do. Here we go. Do I give the clients the file? So if they purchase them, absolutely. They get high resolution JPEGs, and they look, I think they look really good. High resolution JPEGs, highly recommended. That's pretty much, yeah, they get their digitals. I want them to have their digitals. They can carry them around on their phone. If a friend asks them, they can pull it out of their pocket. It's awesome. So triple recommend on that front. Should have brought up a bottle of water or something. Any other questions on those things? Anybody want me to look at their website or Instagram page? Do you want to go through any more of my pictures? Do you want me to show you some editing? Do you want me to show you, anything else that I can kind of help you guys out with? Don't hesitate to ask. Don't hesitate to ask. What is the software to prepare a virtual portfolio to show the client? So I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. If you're asking, how do I do a sales session with the client? I do that one specific way. If it's a virtual portfolio, it's sort of like my website. So I just send them to my website. But let's talk about, excuse me. Okay, if you're not doing in-person sales, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So if you have them come in and view the pictures themselves, you can guide them through a lot of that. You can say things like when they say, I don't really like my face when I'm smiling in those pictures. And I say, I don't know, I've only known you for about 2 hours, but you've got like a super genuine smile. And I think when people see it, they're like, that's you. Like when I think of you, I think of like big smile, generous heart. And so I think that's so cool. And I think that you should have this beautiful portrait of you smiling. You can say things like that if you do in-person sales, which you can't say if you just send them a gallery. Similarly, if you live far away or you did a destination boudoir shoot or they flew in town for the pictures, I know that's not super common. Maybe they drove 3 hours to get their pictures taken, and then you're not good. You don't have your editing down to do same-day sales, and they go back home. You can do a screen share, which means basically doing exactly as we are doing now. So you bring up their album, Lightroom. You would say, okay, perfect. Let's click through one by one and see which are your favorites. And you can see the 2 stars are her favorites here. Here's 3 stars, 2 stars, 2 stars, 2 stars. And then you can go through and you say, beautiful. You chose these pictures. Let's go ahead and design your album. and then you'll go through and you'll design the album, kind of whatever it is. You can do it while sharing a screen, which is beautiful. Love it. So I would highly recommend doing that. You pick out your faves and assemble them to present them. Yeah, so I narrow it down from about, I shoot less now because I'm on the GFX, which is just a single shot and I'm manual focus. But yes, I narrow them down. I narrow them down to about 80 photos, 80 pictures, and then they'll choose their favorites from that. Otherwise, you get too many duplicates, too many that are like similar and look the same. So, you know, that's kind of what I recommend. Is you narrow it down between 60 and 80 photos, and then that'll allow them to have enough to choose from without being overwhelmed. Let's see what Jonathan says, if I missed anything. And then, let's see, you guys want to see some editing? Do you show them all through Lightroom? Yeah, so I do my sales sessions in Lightroom because basically they're only purchasing the photo for the album or the photo for the wall art. There's not a whole lot of fancy different things that I could do. I'm basically starring them to show the favorites. And then from there, the pics are the ones that she actually purchased. She got only digital, so that's what she ended up doing. And then I have them in here of the pictures they purchased. And then within this Lightroom, I've got everything cataloged. So these are all JPEGs. So if I want to post this picture, I can just bring up Erin. I know she bought this picture. I know I can use anything, and then I can just post it. So great. So amazing. Okay. This is my sales sessions catalog. So I'm going to go over here, and we're going to open recent. Open recent. Let's do this first. Here we go. File, open recent. Boudoir original, relaunch. And then I'll be able to show you guys a little bit of the editing. How much are your digitals? So they are $125, $120 a piece unless you buy at least 10 of them. Once you buy 10 of them, they're $100 a piece. That sounds super expensive. When I first started photography, I think digitals were $25 a piece. And even then, I thought that was a lot of money. But essentially, you know, once you build your brand, also to have, for me to say you basically get an album for free. So instead of getting digitals, you should just get an album because 14 digitals is $1,400 or an album with 14 pictures is $1,100. It makes the album not seem so expensive. So I would really, really, really recommend that. All right, so let's do, this is perfect. I haven't edited these pictures yet. So this is Bethany. This is going to be for one of the newsletter shoots. I haven't even gone through and narrowed them down. So you guys are getting a really, really, let's go here. We'll do with iMac. Perfect. Okay, so these are all just raw photos. These are all shot with my Fuji GFX. We can click through here. Some photos. Let's just do something like this. So this is really simple. You can see here's the window on the left. So I'm trying to create that these little highlights here and then have dark on her skin this way. This is why I want to get the blackout shade so that her skin can be a lot darker over here and just little highlights. So the first, I'm just going to check to make sure how much I have battery on this camera. I'm at 1%. I'm at 1%. I trained for this. Let me get my, let me get another battery for this camera. Hold on one second. Hold on. Almost set. It's back on. Nice. Okay, I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. All right, so let's talk about this photo and what I would do. So I have my presets that I love. You can see just how it like adds so much life into these pictures. This is like a cooler one, but I'm gonna do basically what I would do if I didn't have this. So the first thing I would do is just drag the darks down, and then the overall exposure down. And then a lot of what I did in that is in the curves. So you basically, you build a little curve here. And like, look at this from where it started to where it is now. So a little bit of an S curve. Bring the darks down, bring the exposure down. Now what it's done here is it's added, see how her skin is like pretty smooth when it's bright. And then here it's like, it's not, you can see a lot of the gritty texture, which is okay. But I would run it through portraiture, or what you can do is the tap M button, this guy here. You can basically, so now if you say show the overlay, it's doing everything in red. All right. But with here you can mask. I basically showed you guys this on my skin tutorial. You do color, and then you choose, her skin. Hold down Alt, Option Alt, and click this, and you can see that it's really only doing her skin. Perfect. And then again, if we go over here, it'll show only her skin. So this is how you can isolate certain things. Now what I want to do is, instead of bringing the exposure up, what I want to do is bring the texture down. Ooh, so you don't want to do it a lot, but just that. If we zoom in again and we turn this off, I don't know if you can see that through the recording, but that is doing a huge difference of just softening a little bit of the texture of her skin. So that's probably what I would do. And then this is like, maybe I would warm it up a little bit. Down a little bit. Yeah, so that's probably what I would do. You could probably boost the vibrance. Something like that. Now, let's duplicate this. Let's reset. Here's with my preset. Let's do the warm one. See how that's just way, way, way too warm. So we'll bring the texture, the warmth down. And it's a little too green. And then I'm just going to desaturate the blues because this is just way too saturated on the blues. Saturation. Down on the blues. Okay. Bring this up a little bit like this. And then just bring the shadows down again. So this is with my preset. This is without it. So you can see. Let's take a look here. So this is my preset. This is without it, which you guys may even like more. But I like how stylized. This should actually be a little bit brighter. I like the stylized nature of this. You know, if we do the skin, God, man, it's so different. So we'll do this. We'll change the white balance back. So this is with the skin preset. This is with no preset. Skin preset. No preset. Just kind of going through and doing the dodging and burning that curve. So those are a couple of quick adjustments that you can make. You know, if we do something like this, we're going to do the same. We're going to bring the exposure down. We'll do the darks down. We'll do our little curve. And then we'll change up the crop. Maybe brighten this part a little bit. That looks really good. No presets, no nothing fancy. Let's go down a little bit more. Let's do something where, here we go. So now we're looking at her a little bit more clearly. Maybe we'll do this one. This one I like. So, yeah, I just pretty much always bring the darks down. If you guys hit Shift M, you'll brighten up her face. And then I don't really love the color on her skin here. So I don't really know how to do it without a preset, honestly, to get it to where I want it to be. I would just do this and then push a touch of pink. So this is without anything. And with it. See, now that's too pink. Or actually, maybe it's just too, yeah. Without anything with it. So that's a little bit of my editing. Okay. I shoot more dark-skinned women. How do I use your preset for skin? So you can do it for that as well. If we go to 2018 maybe. We bring up let's do just like this one. So I'll reset. So you're straight out of camera. I mean, that looks so good. Cool it off just a little bit. So this is without and with. This is just one click. That looks amazing. If you want to make it even more intense, you can just drag it up a little bit, and then again it kind of overly warms it, so you could tone it down a little bit. So here's without and here's with. Look at the highlight on her cheek and how much that comes out. Look at the on her arm here. This, her lines here, all of this is just all, you know, really brought out. It definitely adds a bunch of texture down here, which you could take out. If we were to do something like this, let's reset. So even if we do, I mean, any of these look good. But the skin preset doesn't show like it's really doing much. Let's do this one. It's a little bit better. Let's do something like this. So we'll reset. Go ahead and use this. Boost it up. Cool it down. So here's on import. Here's with a preset. It just gives it a glow. I don't know, for me I really like that. The skin preset is a little cleaner. If we get in here, you can see it's just like there's not quite as much that goes on. It's not quite as colored. It's like a little bit sharper, but it adds some life into the skin, which I really like. I don't know. Totally up to you how you want to do it, but let's see if there's reset. Yeah, so here's just with the skin. I love that. Anything that's yellow just like really makes it glow. Here's the Crush Cool preset, which is pretty cool. You got a little bit green in the background, but warm in the skin. And then this just takes all of that out, and it's only warm in the skin and warm in the background. So you can kind of pick and choose how you like to have it. And then these are just like that same thing. It's just increased. I mean, yeah, this looks super stylized and beautiful. I don't know. I'm into it. I am into it. Let's see. I feel like I have to teach myself photography, Lightroom, and Photoshop. The learning curve is enormous. Are photography and Lightroom enough? Yes, you don't need to know Photoshop. I use Photoshop very rarely. Very rarely do I bring stuff into Photoshop. I would recommend just, focus on photography, if anything. Lightroom, you don't need too much. Honestly, a decent preset and learning some of these. Like, if you get photography right, then the rest is easy. This picture only took us one click. Honestly, it didn't even need it to begin with. If it was just this, if your picture was just this, it would be great. You could sell that picture. If your picture was, here we go. Hey, let's see. Here's a picture. Reset. If you learn how to shoot good light, like, you can sell this without needing to edit anything. This is straight out of camera. You learn, like, okay, bump the exposure a little bit, and then use this radial filter to brighten up her face a little bit. Like, you can sell that picture. Obviously, it'll be better if you use, you know, a preset, or not even a preset, but if you just learn to edit a little bit more. Like, that obviously glows more than this. But, you know, like, your client's not going to know the difference. So don't feel overwhelmed. Just kind of take it step by step. Learn photography. That's going to be your most important. And then after that, spend some time every time you put some images in. Play around with some stuff. Try some things. See what happens. And then, you know, the goal isn't to be a master at it tomorrow. The goal is to be a master at it in a year. As you get better a little bit along the way, it's going to make a really big difference. Okay, you guys, we got about 10 more minutes. We got about 10 more minutes to answer any questions that you have, to go over anything that you want. This is your one-on-one time, so definitely make use of it. If you got anything, if you're nervous about asking something, you know, don't be. It's gonna be valuable. I promise you. I promise you. Let's see. In your studio on YouTube, we'll have recorded the live. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, so I mean, just a recap on some of the things that we went over. Let's see, ambient light in your studio. If you're gonna do a strobe, check out Young You, whatever that company is. If you need some extra things for your studio, check out my kit.com example, and definitely check that out. That's got some links to some good things. Or my studio, where I do a little walkthrough of my studio. I'd recommend that. Yeah, the plants and stuff, that's really good. Don't feel like you need the, you know, if you're gonna spend money, spend it on lights or sample albums or your website or on marketing, things like that. I think are going to be better. Shooting low light, aperture, more open, higher ISO, put your back towards the window. The lighting in let's see, in different lighting conditions. Try not to have any of your ceiling lights on while you're shooting, because that'll get your orangish red light from there, your blue light from your window. Yeah, I recommend Lightroom Classic. Wall art from Lamb and Art, but I'm gonna switch to just regular prints. Do you trust these vendors? Yep. All right, I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good about it. Let's see. What about plus size? I've seen some videos that speak of poses that are better to help them. So let's talk about some plus size clients. Let's open recent sales sessions relaunch. Give me a second here to get Lightroom up. Un momento. Okay. Here we go. So this girl rocked her session. She was amazing. Curvier. You know, I think it's important not to try and hide. Like, will certain poses work better? Sure. But you're using the same principles. Here's the window. Here's light highlighting here. Shooting into darkness here. Shadowy here. Arching her back. Lengthens out her torso. You know, another perfect example, stretching, super tall, lengthens her out. This is using the couch to hide her stomach. So we're going for focusing on this, you know, the arch of her back, which looks really good. Same here. This is, even though it shows her stomach, this is still, you know, I still really love this shot. I love that shot a lot. Here is her corset, which does a really good job of showing her shape. What's nice about this is the vertical lines sort of come in, so it gives that sort of sensation of that this is like a really skinny part of her. But she's got, she's curvy, so like I didn't hide from that. You sort of shoot, your goal is to not show it off, but like, let's see who else. This girl was a little bit, no, I wouldn't say she was like curvy, but she was not my typical shaped client. Again, using the couch to hide her stomach, using her hands to hide her stomach. Here, stretched out, kind of shooting into that darkness. She had really, really wide hips, and her right here was thinner. So if you can put this, whatever's closest to the camera will look bigger. So we've got this that looks wider, and then it kind of goes in here, and then it's going to come back out to her shoulders. But even when she's super, super stretched out. So here, somebody asked me recently that was like, what happens when their chest is like a little bit larger or more saggy when they're laying on their back? How do you deal with that? I use their arms as a bra. So their hands as a bra. Her putting her hands on her legs is really an excuse for her to push her chest together. Same here. She's basically using her hands as her bra. Here you can see it's like more flat. So those are some thoughts there. Let me see if I have anybody else that I think fits in that category. Sadie. Again, anything where they're like putting their stomach up against the bed is super flattering. Here's a good shot, kind of just showing her arms mostly. I think that looks pretty nice. Using your arms here creates this inward shape. This here kind of makes it look like, it's kind of adding to her thinness. Here's a good pose. Just anything where the light is coming from above and then down, you get all these little highlights which look good. Pointing your toes is always important. Using your hands as the bra again. What is really, like curvier girls usually have a bigger chest, so like figure out a way to make that shine more, and then use whatever it is to cover what they may not want to see, is what I would recommend. So that's kind of my thoughts on kind of the curvier girls. Let's see, 2019. Do I have anybody here that let me share? I don't think so. Oh, Rachel is a good example. Okay, so super beautiful curvier girl, but like rocked it. This girl rocked it. Look at that. It's awesome. So here's using her arm to block where her stomach is to make it feel like this is kind of where she is, and this comes down. It's a little harder to see because of all of this sheer, but like this is where her stomach actually is, but it seems like it's right here. So you can use arms to kind of play around with some different things. Shooting down on them is very flattering. Bringing her hand across here covers her stomach. Using the flowers to block her stomach here is kind of like a creative way to do that. So you can do that a lot. Using the couch looks really good. I mean, like, again, don't be like, oh, she's curvy, so I don't want to show, like, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to show of her. So it's kind of like, photograph. Like, here's another good example. They're laying on their stomach. You can only show part of their body. That's like kind of more flat. I love this picture. That one's rocking. She looks incredible. Here's another example of what I did. If you zoom in, you want to look close, you can see that this is actually her stomach here. But because there's this dark kind of coming this way, it looks like it kind of comes here and then starts here. yeah. So those are my thoughts on photographing curvy, the poses for curvy women, how you can do a couple of different things there to kind of help out. But, um, don't, when somebody comes in and is curvy, don't let that be fearful. Don't let that be scary. What's up, Paul? Don't let that kind of make you go, oh my God, how am I going to take pictures that this woman is going to like of herself? Really, what you should be saying is like, man, that girl really is beautiful, and how can I photograph her in a way that shows that beauty? If she's got some areas that she's self-conscious about, you want to hide them, then go ahead. But don't look at a girl who's got a stomach and say, I'm not going to photograph anything from here. And so what you end up doing is all of your photos look like this. This woman, Terry Hofford, who's just the best. Let's do Terry Hofford Boudoir. This is Terry's website, and I'm actually going to do a photographer spotlight with her because I get this question a lot on, whoops, that's fine, the gallery. So she first did her boudoir session. She did a boudoir session, and she's a bigger girl. She's not quite this size, but close. And she got back photos, and they were all headshots. And she was like, why are they all headshots? I'm a whole person. And she was like, I wasn't self-conscious about my stomach, but the photographer wasn't comfortable showing me any pictures that showed my stomach. So then I started to think, am I supposed to be self-conscious about my stomach? Is my stomach not something to be seen? And so we have the ability to take these pictures and take these beautiful portraits that can make people, start to really see themselves as somebody who is, this is Terry on the right. She's so great. I don't know what these are. That's Boone. You guys got to check out Boone. Anyways, those are some thoughts on the plus size side of things. So I think that will probably wrap it up. I'll let everybody ask one. You've got 2 minutes to ask one more question, and then those will be the last questions of the day. And then I'm going to send off yesterday's client's pictures to her. I'm going to order her album. I'm going to get to editing some new videos and go get my hair cut because it's time to do that. And I am looking forward to that. So that's at about a 30-second delay. That's okay. So yeah, just go ahead and if there's anything else, go ahead and message in the next minute or so, and then we'll wrap up. I hope this was really valuable to you guys. I loved doing it this way. I just felt like I could share links. I could share stuff on my page. I could share pictures. I could go through. I could critique your work. I had the ability to just awesome, just so cool. So I really want to do more of this, and yeah, I can't wait to do more stuff like this. So thank you guys for joining in. I know that was really long to just kind of sit and listen to me talk, but I hope it was really helpful for you. I hope it benefited you a lot. Yeah, I love that picture. I should post more of Rachel. Maybe I'll do that. All right. I know. I wanted to go see the Magic Castle show. Next time for sure. Okay, team. That was really good. Thanks for all your questions. We'll do something like that some other time, but I hope that was really helpful. And I will talk to you soon. So let's get out of here. We will end the stream.